He wasn't a bad man. That's the painful part. He didn't wake up one day and decide to destroy his family. He just kept choosing money over and over. And each time it felt small, like a harmless decision, like something he could fix later. His name was Daniel. To the world, Daniel looked like a success story, a hard worker, a provider, a man who refused to be average. But inside his house, his wife and children were slowly learning a different truth. They were learning how it feels to live with someone who is physically present but emotionally gone. Daniel used to be different. Back when he and his wife Sarah were younger, they had almost nothing. A tiny flat, a secondhand sofa, a kitchen that smelled like cheap noodles and hope. But there was laughter then. There were long conversations. There were nights where Daniel held Sarah's hand and promised her that one day they'd build a better life together. When their first child was born, Daniel cried. He cried like a man who couldn't believe he was capable of love that deep. Sarah thought, "This is it. This is my family." But time has a way of testing promises.
It started with one promotion. Daniel's manager praised him, told him he had potential, told him he could rise fast if he was willing to give more hours, more weekends, more time. Daniel came home that night glowing. Sarah smiled and hugged him. She was proud of him. She believed in him, but she didn't know that was the night the balance began to shift. After that, Daniel started coming home later, then much later, then sometimes not at all. When Sarah called, he'd answer with an impatient tone. "I'm doing this for us," he'd say. "I'm building our future." And Sarah would swallow her loneliness because she didn't want to be the reason he stopped. The children started to notice. At first it was small things. A school play where Daniel's seat stayed empty. A football match where the child kept looking at the crowd, hoping to see his father's face. A birthday party where Daniel walked in near the end, smelling like stress and exhaustion, dropping a gift on the table like a duty. The kids would still run to him. They always ran to him. But Daniel was always distracted, always checking his phone, always thinking about what he hadn't finished. Sarah would look at him across the room and wonder who he had become. She didn't want luxury. She wanted partnership. She wanted presence. But Daniel only heard one word in his head. "Daniel, I miss you." He didn't look up from his laptop. "What do you mean? I'm here." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "You're here, but you're not with us. You don't laugh anymore. You don't ask about the kids. You don't even look at me the same." Daniel sighed like she was adding another problem to his long list. "I'm tired, Sarah. I'm under pressure." "I know," she whispered, "but we are under pressure too." Daniel finally looked at her and his voice sharpened. "So what do you want? You want us to struggle again? You want the kids to go without? I'm doing what a man is supposed to do." Sarah tried to speak again, but the words broke in her throat. Because in that moment, she realized something terrifying. Daniel didn't think he was hurting them. He thought he was winning. The next months passed like a blur. Daniel's income grew, so did his ambition. He bought a bigger house, a newer car, better clothes. From the outside, they looked like the perfect family. But inside, Sarah started to feel like a single mother with a married name. She stopped calling him as much. She stopped waiting by the window. The kids stopped asking, "When is Dad coming home?" because they already knew the answer. And Daniel liked the praise from the world too much. Every compliment at work felt like proof that he was doing the right thing. Every financial milestone felt like a victory. He didn't notice the silence growing in his home. He didn't notice Sarah crying quietly in the bathroom. He didn't notice his children learning to stop needing him. One night, Daniel came home late again. He expected the usual, quiet, everyone asleep, another day completed. But the kitchen light was on. Sarah sat at the table with an envelope in front of her. Daniel paused. "What's that?" Sarah didn't shout. She didn't cry. Her voice was calm in a way that scared him. "It's a letter from the school," she said, "about our son." Daniel frowned. "What did he do?" Sarah looked up slowly. "He didn't do anything. He just wrote something in class. The teacher asked them to write about their hero. Daniel's chest warmed slightly. And? Sarah's eyes shook with pain. He said he doesn't have one. Daniel's smile vanished. Sarah continued carefully, like each word was a heavy stone. He wrote that his dad lives in his phone, and his mom lives in the kitchen, and he lives in his room. Daniel opened his mouth, but no words came out. For the first time, the success around him felt meaningless. Daniel tried to fix things after that, not in a deep way, not in a patient way, but in the way a man fixes a problem at work. He took the kids out once, bought them gifts, took photos, posted them. He took Sarah to dinner and talked about future holidays. But Sarah's heart wasn't a light switch, and the children didn't know how to connect with him anymore. When Daniel asked them questions, they answered politely, like he was a visitor. Daniel felt offended. He thought, I'm trying. He didn't understand that trying for one weekend doesn't erase years of absence. Real love doesn't want your leftovers. Real love wants your time. Then life did what life always does. It interrupted. Sarah started feeling tired all the time. She ignored it at first. Mothers ignore pain every day because there's always something to do, a meal to cook, a child to comfort. But the tiredness became weakness. The weakness became hospital visits. And Daniel was still working. When Sarah told him about the doctor, he said, okay, we'll handle it. But he didn't go with her. When she told him it might be serious, he said, let me finish this project. And when the doctor finally said the words out loud, it felt like the air left the room. Cancer. Sarah sat there, holding the edge of the chair to stay steady. Daniel wasn't there. Sarah called Daniel from the hospital car park. He answered with a rushed tone. What is it? I'm in a meeting. Sarah's voice was small. They confirmed it, Daniel. There was silence. What? Confirmed what? Sarah swallowed. It's cancer. For a moment, Daniel didn't speak. Then he said something Sarah would never forget. Are you sure? Did you go to a good hospital? Sarah's eyes closed. Even now, he was thinking like a businessman, like a man who could pay his way out of reality. Daniel promised he would come home early, but he didn't. That night, Sarah sat alone in bed, staring at the ceiling. She didn't cry loudly. She didn't scream. She just whispered to herself, I'm doing this alone. The months that followed were brutal. Sarah's hair fell out. Her energy disappeared. Her smile became a rare thing. The children grew quieter. Daniel tried to show up more, but his mind was still split in two. He was at home, but he was thinking about work. He was at work, but now he was haunted by fear. Sometimes he stood in the doorway and watched Sarah sleeping, thin and pale, and guilt would punch him in the chest. He wanted to go back in time. He wanted to hold the younger version of himself and say, stop, you're losing everything. But time doesn't listen, and regret doesn't arrive early. It waits until the damage is done. One day, Daniel came home and found the house unusually quiet. No cooking sounds, no children running. He walked into the living room. Sarah was sitting on the sofa, wrapped in a blanket, staring at an old photo album. Daniel sat beside her carefully. She didn't look at him right away. After a long silence, Sarah spoke. I used to pray you'd come back to us. Daniel's throat tightened. I'm here now. Sarah turned to him. Her eyes were tired, but clear. No, you're here now because you're scared, not because you finally understood. Daniel's breath shook. I did understand. I thought I had time. Sarah's lips trembled, not with anger, but with heartbreak. That's what everyone thinks. Then she gently closed the photo album and whispered the words that shattered him. I don't know if I have time. The final weeks came fast, too fast. Sarah grew weaker. Her voice softened. Her steps became slower. Daniel started taking days off work, but it felt pointless now, like arriving at a burning house with a bucket of water. One night, Sarah asked Daniel to bring the children to her bedside. The kids climbed in carefully, like they were afraid to hurt her. Sarah touched their faces gently. She told them she loved them. She told them to be kind. She told them to forgive easily. Daniel stood at the foot of the bed holding back tears. Sarah turned her eyes to him. "Daniel," his voice cracked. "Yes, I'm here." Sarah's voice was barely above a whisper. "Promise me something. Anything." Sarah took a slow breath. "Don't spend the rest of your life paying for what you didn't give us." Daniel broke. He nodded, crying openly. But deep down, he knew the truth. Some things can't be repaid. Sarah passed away on a quiet morning. The sun rose like it was just another day. But for Daniel, the world ended. At the funeral, people praised him. They said he was strong. They said he provided. They said he did his best. Daniel stood there in a black suit that cost more than some people earned in months, and felt like the poorest man alive. After the funeral, he went home. He walked into the kitchen and saw Sarah's mug still on the counter. He picked it up and his hands shook. The children watched him from the hallway, silent. Daniel sank into a chair and whispered, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But apologies don't go backward in time." That night, Daniel opened his laptop to work, and his fingers froze. For the first time, he saw the truth clearly. Money can buy comfort, but it cannot buy presence, it cannot buy love, it cannot buy back the years you wasted, and it cannot bring back someone you lost because you thought they would always be there. If you're listening to this story right now, take this lesson seriously. Success means nothing if the people you love feel alone. Your family doesn't need your perfect future. They need you in the present because the regret always comes, and sometimes it comes too late.